What's up, everybody? Welcome to BioS3 fucking camera angle. BioS3 Raw TV. Today we're going to talk about something that I keep getting emails, and it's something that I definitely have talked about it before, but I don't know if I stressed how important it was. And that is muscle soreness. Like, we had a big video before about DOMs. How this one motherfucker on BioS3 kept bugging me for a DOMs video, and I'm like, there's plenty of fucking videos out there and articles about DOMs, so just go find it. Well, I'm not even going to talk about DOMs. I'm talking about muscle soreness or in general, what gives you a productive or good workout. Some people are like, oh, I'm tired, I had a good workout. Well, that's not necessarily true. Some people are, and I see this regularly, is, man, I'm not even getting sore anymore. Like, I don't even feel like it's, I'm like, okay, are you dead tired before you leave the gym? Yeah. Okay, and your measurements in your arms and chest and everything going up? Yeah. So what the fuck? Like, it's working. Like, for the first time in your life, you're doing something that's actually working. It's working consistently, and you can see the results, but you're worried about being sore. I don't get sore anymore, so I don't think I'm working hard enough. Like, where the fuck did that come from? That comes from a very old myth based, I don't know how many years ago. And I remember I used to go to a gym in Massachusetts called JZack's. And at JZack's, there was this kid. He was young. He might have been a little bit younger than I was, or about my age. And he had a very Arnold-like physique for his age. Not super huge, like 180 pounds. And for a teenager, 180 pounds looking like Arnold, I mean, that's good. And people would ask him, they'd say, well, how, what's your training like? And he said, I would just do stuff to see how sore I can get the next day. And when I stop getting sore, then I change it. And that was his whole theory. Now, based on what he was saying, he should consistently have been growing. But he didn't change very much throughout the years. So although he was getting sore, you think he's having good workouts, but he didn't change. So the whole idea behind getting bigger and doing bodybuilding, you need to progress. He wasn't progressing. That was his thought, was as long as you're sore, then you're producing muscle growth. When you get sore, all it means is basically you've pumped a bunch of blood through that muscle, which doesn't necessarily mean that you've stimulated muscle growth. As the blood gets pumped through there, as a byproduct of energy production, lactic acid is built up, and lactic acid leaves behind hydroxyproline, hydroxymethylproline, or hydroxyproline, which is an irritant to the muscle. Okay, so what you're feeling is an irritation to the muscle as a byproduct of energy metabolism. Now, I kind of, always like to kind of compare things to other things that are not related to bodybuilding, so people get somewhat of an idea. Now, any of you who've ever used PEDs or had a booster shot from, when you were a kid, you get the shot. I remember having it on my shoulder. I remember it hurt so bad, and my dad told me, keep moving it around. He's like, because if you leave it there, it's going to be 10 times worse. And I remember sitting there saying to myself, I'm like, well, fuck, I got to move it. And it hurt to move. Well, what's inside that injection is very similar to, well, I'm going to say similar, has a similar result to the pump, the lactic acid buildup. It is an irritant to the muscle, and it fucking hurts. It's not the drug that's inside of you that hurts. It's the irritating to the muscle of the solvents, probably, that was in it, that irritates the muscle, and it hurts. It doesn't mean that the product was actually working. It was working before the pain started. It was already going in your blood, but that was an indication that something had been put in there. Pain is your body's way of letting you know something is wrong. Now, you hadn't flushed out the lactic acid and the hydroxyproline fully. Your body's letting you know it's there. It doesn't mean you can't train the muscle group again. It doesn't mean that you have actually stimulated muscle growth. Now, I think the main thing that people forget is when you're looking to stimulate muscle growth, different people had different fiber makeups in their body. So they're going to respond to different types of training. For example, I was talking with my girlfriend last night, Kari, and we were talking about her training, how, after she was done competing this year, we went into like a maintenance mode. She doesn't really want to gain any more muscle. And, at this point, she said, I just want to train just to train, so we'll figure it out when and if I decide to do something next year. I said, okay. So we developed her program, and I kept her with a certain rep range. Now, that rep range seems to be, and we're not even training legs directly. There's no squats, hack squats, no leg extensions, no leg curls, nothing like that. We never train her arms directly. We haven't trained her arms literally in about 4 years, ever. Her triceps are ridiculous. Her arms are, 10 times more put for her physique than, or more symmetrical for her physique than, or more shapely for her physique than these other girls that are on the same level. And she doesn't even train her arms, and these other girls train their arms. So I sat back and said, how are you progressing? Because now at her body weight that she's at now, which is her off-season body weight, she's leaner at this body weight than she's ever been before. And I'm like, how the fuck, like, if we're not building muscle, how are you at this weight and leaner? That means that your fat is down, your muscle is up, but we're not training for that. How the fuck is this happening? Well, as it turns out, plyos are enough to make her legs grow. Pressing, pulling movements are enough to make her arms grow. A certain rep range, an endurance rep range, between 12 to 15 reps, will make her muscles grow. Now, that's the opposite of what a lot of people say. A lot of people say, oh, they get these bikini girls doing these powerlifting movements and doing like 3 to 5 reps, and they're not growing. Some people grow from that. Other people don't. And some people say, well, it's because they're not, progressing. They're not doing this. The way that they're training in general, and they're not recovering, all these different things. And it very well could be the fiber makeup. So you could sit there in the gym and train your ass off with, let's say, 10 sets of 20 reps, and you'd be sore as a motherfucker the next day. But if your muscles are not situated towards that type of training, you ain't going to grow. Perfect example is I'm back in the gym starting to train now after my injury, and it's really funny because I was bench pressing 50 pounds. 50. It's 25 on each arm on the hammer strength decline machine. And of course I can move the weight it's almost like there's nothing on it. I do like 3 sets of 10, no failure, nothing like that. Some cable crossovers. I think that was about all I did. I think I did some dips on the dip machine, very light, like 30 pounds. Stuff that like a teenager would do their first time in the gym. And the next day, my chest was so fucking sore. Like I couldn't even fucking shave my head because my chest was so sore because I hadn't trained in like 3.5 weeks. So after not training for 3.5 weeks, my body detrained essentially. And when I started to pump that blood back in the muscle, it wasn't efficient at clearing out that lactic acid. It wasn't efficient at clearing out the hydroxyproline. So now what happens is the muscle's even more irritated than it was before you trained. And the more that you train, the more blood you pump in there, the more blood you pump in there, the more it doesn't get broken down and washed out as far as the irritants, and then sore like a motherfucker. Did I stimulate any growth on my fucking chest? Fuck no, I didn't stimulate any growth on my chest. God damn, it's 50 pounds. If you're used to benching 300 pounds, you benching fucking 50, no, it's not causing any kind of growth on my chest, but it hurts like a motherfucker. So these are just examples to let you guys understand that being sore doesn't mean you're growing. It doesn't even mean you had a good workout. All it means is you pump some blood through there and your body's not efficient for whatever reason. Blood that's too thick, to be honest with you, your blood's not thin enough, you're fucking with PEDs, your hematocrit levels through the fucking roof, that can cause more soreness, and that's actually a bad way to cause soreness because your body's not flushing blood through fast enough because it's clotting up. It's fucking too thick. It's like syrup. That's bad. There's a million different things that could cause soreness, so just be aware it's not an indicator of how good your workout was. Biostraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. www.biostraining.com is a blog, and where it's the Bios3 Soreness Bicep, and we're out.